I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them. Hi, kids. Welcome to an exciting new journey where we will meet Noah and his family. Wondering who Noah was? Maybe you've heard a bit about him, but you haven't heard his whole story. Well, join us on this new journey to learn about the unusual life Noah lived and his adventures with God. But before we get to know more about Noah, let's take a look at some of the members of his family, like his parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. Some of them I'm sure you've heard of. Remember Adam, the first man? Oh, if we're mentioning Adam, we're definitely talking about a long, long time ago. Now, let me share the names of some of the other members of Noah's family going back many generations. Stick with me, and at the end, you'll see how Noah is connected to Adam. Beginning with Adam and Eve, after their first children, Cain and Abel, had another child named Seth. Seth then had Enosh as his child. Enosh had Kenan had Mahalalel, then Mahalalel had Jared, and Jared had Enoch. Enoch had Methuselah, and here we're already getting closer to Noah, because Methuselah was Noah's own grandfather. And finally, Methuselah had Lamech, and Lamech was Noah's father. Isn't that interesting? So, this means that Adam was the great-great-great-great-great-grandfather of Noah. How many greats is that? Yeah, I'll let you do the math. Another very interesting thing is that the people of that time period lived very long lives. Noah lived 950 years. Yes, you got that right. 950 years. I've told you from the very beginning that Noah's life was unusual. But if you thought 950 years was a long time to live, Methuselah, Noah's grandfather, lived 969 years. Can you believe it? Let's see. I'm more than 25 years old now. That would be like me living another 944 years until the year 2966? Wow, that's quite a long time from now. Methuselah's age really was unusual, even during a time when people lived really long. He is considered to be the man who lived the longest in the entire history of mankind. But let's get back to our story, the story of Noah's life. Noah lived during a period of time when people completely grew apart from God. After Adam and Eve, the number of people began to grow on earth. The problem started when boys and girls who knew God because of their parents and grandparents married pagan people who did not know God. They even served and worshipped idols. The children who came from families that served God lived surrounded by all kinds of people, just like us. Some were like them, that is, they believed in God and served Him, while others served handmade gods and idols, and they lived very differently. So fewer and fewer people knew and served the one true God. Let's take a look back in time to see what it might have been like to live among the people. Hi, Ephron. But what are you building here? Hi, Alicia. I'm building an altar to God with my family. Oh, an altar for God? For which God? Which one? What do you mean? There's only one true God. That's not true, Ephron. Oh, Ephron, you're so silly. My family and I worship many gods. You've become narrow-minded. But just come with me, and I'll help you get the real picture and get to know the almighty gods. We know too well from the Bible that we cannot serve both God and idols. God is the only God, and He wishes that we praise only Him. Well, these people who turned away from God by serving idols also had children. Among their children, there were some really beautiful girls. The boys of the families who served the Lord saw that the daughters of the idol worshippers were also very beautiful. Young people would go to their parents and tell them, "Mom, Dad, today I've met a very beautiful girl. I like her very much and I have decided to marry her." "Oh, this is such good news," the mother replied. "Darling, have you heard? Ephron, our son, has decided to get married. When did our boy grow up so fast?" "That's very good news indeed," the father responded. "But who are you going to marry, son?" "Well, Alicia, our neighbor's daughter," the son replied, exulting. "What? That's impossible," the father reacted. "They are pagans and serve idols. We serve God, and He wants us to start a family only with people who worship Him and only Him. I will not allow you to marry such a girl. And besides, there are plenty of beautiful girls who serve God. Choose one of these girls," the father advised. "Too late, father," the son responded. "The decision is already made. Alicia and her family are more than delighted with the news. There's no turning back." Just like this young man, many other children of God did not listen to what their parents had taught them and even rebelled against them by marrying girls coming from families who did not serve God. This means they forgot the God of their parents and they disobeyed His word. The people became more and more wicked, and the Bible tells us that every inclination of their thoughts was evil all the time. They were so deeply buried in sin that God said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. Maybe they will turn from their sins and obey me again." The Bible tells us that the people of that time were giants, mighty people. They trusted in their own power. They were so strong that they thought they could do just fine without God. And that was a dangerous lie. The wickedness of the human race grew so much that God regretted that He had made human beings on the earth, and His heart was deeply troubled. So He said, "I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them." But in this evil world, there was a man about whom the Bible says something different. His name was Noah. That's right, you guessed it. Noah was not like the other people we described earlier. He obeyed God, and the Bible tells us that God was good to Noah and his family. But we'll find out more about him in the next episode. Until then, let's see what we can learn from today's episode. First of all, if we go back to the beginning, we can see that people would not have ended up in this state of sin if the boys of the families who knew God had not married the girls of the families who worshipped idols in the first place. So, while their disobedience at the time may seem like a small thing, their state of sin became so bad that God regretted He created man. From a small sin, we got a bigger one, and a bigger one, until we risk completely removing God from our lives. We need to be very careful. Likewise, if we are born into a Christian family and our parents serve God, it doesn't automatically mean that we also serve God and that He lives in our hearts. Boys who married girls that did not know God chose to turn away from God and disobey the Lord. So, each of us must choose to serve and obey Him. And there's one last thing I'd like to share about what we learned from this episode. Even if everyone around us upsets God, we can still choose to be different, like Noah. Do not forget that. You can be different at home, at school, among your friends, or wherever you are. You can be like Noah. We are very eager to get to know Noah better and are so excited to see what God will do about the people who have turned away from Him. Join us in the next episode of Noah's Life. produced by David and Goliath Productions. If you liked this episode, give us a like and a 5-star rating, and remember to tell your friends about us. You can rewatch this episode along with the rest of this series on YouTube on the DG Bible Stories channel. You can also find our series in audio format on most podcast apps. We invite you to check out the Noah and the Ark original song on our DG Bible Songs channel on YouTube, where we frequently post Christian songs and animations for children.